Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for
Tineke.
having me.
Tineke Postma, Aria Group.
You rushed over here from the stage.
Yes, I
Yes.
did.
Take a breath. How was it?
How was it?
Oh, it was very nice and a very nice crowd. I felt they were into it, so that is always very helpful. And yeah, it's always a lot of fun to play with my group, so I enjoyed it.
Do you feel it was any different playing a showcase festival like Jazzahead with an, let's say, an expert audience in front of you? Does that feel different on stage?
No, I was actually just really approaching it as any other concert. And it
Right.
has a little bit of festival vibe, so
Right.
yeah, we do that all the time. So it felt very natural, and no, I was not really consciously thinking about it.
Well, fantastic. Sounds like you had fun.
Definitely, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Tineke, welcome. Welcome to our Jazzahead 2024 and welcome to our Stingray Jazz booth. We have a few questions for you about your music, your creative process, and everything in between. So, we would like to start with your beginnings as a musician. And can you share the journey from how you started to get into music and what inspiration points there were on the way of your development and what were maybe the pivotal moments in your career thus far?
Yeah. Well, I started playing the saxophone when I was about 10 years old, and my parents really, motivated me to play an instrument and to play saxophone. We listened to jazz at home, so
You started straight into jazz.
yeah. Well, I mean, we listened to classical music and pop music, but I was kind of the only girl or child in my class always that listened to jazz, and I don't know, it somehow really resonated with me already from a young age, and then I started taking lessons, and I'm from Friesland, from the north of Holland, and started joining the big band Friesland. But what I always have felt is every time I took a step into my development, I always wanted to take another step. So I went from I started studying in Groningen at the conservatory. Then I was like, I have to get out of here. I have to be where, I have to be closer to the fire. I went to Amsterdam. Then I was like, no, I have to be closer to the fire. I have to go to New York. So then I started studying in New York. Yeah, exactly.
There's no baby steps in the world of Tineke.
So I just always wanted to challenge myself and be slightly uncomfortable in order to grow. And yeah, in New York I met a lot of amazing musicians. I mean, also in Europe. But when I was 24, I met Carolyn Carrington, the drummer. And she took me under her wings, and I started touring with her, and she played on a couple of my albums. So I was very active in New York. Started really fairly early with releasing my own records, and then playing
What
with my
age?
own band. Well, that was like 23, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and I don't feel any different in a way, I'm taking lessons still from people who I admire. Try to just grow as a composer, and I'm just always challenging myself. Yeah.
So, the saxophone, that is such a distinctive instrument, and that's often described as, the closest instrument to a human voice. And what drew you to the saxophone when did you realize that really was a perfect instrument for you? In other words, was that like love at first sight, so to say?
Yeah, kind of. I remember that when I saw it for the first time, like in this case, and it opened, I was like, whoa, that's so shiny and beautiful. And I knew the instrument from like Cannonball Adderley and Charlie Parker and Candy Dulfer at the time, Yeah. So, it was true magic for me. I just really wanted to play it. And I started with the recorder and the flute, the block flat. So the step to saxophone was way cooler than the flute, you know. So yeah, I kind of immediately felt drawn to it, and I always felt drawn to the human voice, vocals, or saxophones, or trumpets, or melody instruments. So I think it was kind of I never felt attracted to becoming a bass player or something like that. I mean, now I would love to learn it, but it was so obvious that I needed to play a melody instrument.
Right. And so, we're going to talk a little bit about one of the influences of yours. You've mentioned the legendary opera singer Maria Callas as a profound influence in your work. And how has her expressive and lyrical singing shaped your experience and your approach to saxophone playing?
Yeah, so I was totally into her voice from the first moment I heard her, and I was like 10 years old. And her singing like Verdi or Puccini, or it's just blew me away.
That is special. Like in this 10-year-old child being attracted to this
very
kind of
early.
Yeah. So and
were you taking classical music lessons at that age already?
No, never. I never studied
Never
classical music.
Okay.
I mean, a little bit on the saxophone by myself, but never seriously with a teacher.
Right.
No, so her storytelling and her, as you were saying, like the expressiveness and the lyricism, I always felt that was a great example of how one should sing or play melodies. So I really, I consider her as a great influence. Yeah.
How do you feel that contributed to your own work?
Well, in the writing of songs, I feel that I want to write strong melodies that stay maybe with one who listens to it. But I sometimes write also fairly abstract music, so it's not always that I have like the opera, the aria form in my mind, but it definitely has an influence on me being conscious of that a melody should be catchy, or that it should it should resonate.
That's an interesting standpoint, because talking about catchy, you say catchy is mostly associated with pop music in a way, but that's also that can very well have a place in the kind of music that you make, like
yeah. I mean, if you listen to albums of Miles Davis or Chet Baker, I mean those melodies are so strong,
timeless.
Yeah.
Tracking back, the name Aria Group, that suggests a deep connection to operatic themes and melody. How does this name reflect the ensemble's music identity and the essence of your quartet sound?
Of my quartet's sound? Yeah. So I use the word aria in multiple ways. Aria means air. So breathe. For me, it's about breathing, to be just really aware of breathing once I'm on stage, to create space in the playing and in the listening. But aria is a music form within the opera. It's the part where there's a summary made of what the opera story is about. So it's very much full of narrative, the aria, and it is a specific musical form. The way the composer worked, like through the centuries, the aria form has evolved and developed, and so I try to just literally take certain theoretical musical forms of the aria and compose music with it. But also just trying to tell a story when we play music, and not only consider it as some kind of a musical theoretical formula, like, okay, I'm gonna play this scale, I'm gonna play that rhythm, but just really trying to express a story. And I really took that from Wayne Shorter, my big mentor, to use the music really to express something that you have inside, a feeling or an experience, and to put that into music,
Talking about Wayne Shorter, somebody who has shown appreciation as well to you. how does it feel like to get such beautiful words and beautiful appreciation for such a legend?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an inspiration for life, and it feels also that there's now a duty to live up to it, you know? To kind of think, okay, he was really very supportive, but also he was somebody that never stopped, you know? Like, I was in his house, and we would meet at 1 in the afternoon, and he had been composing the whole night. And he was already old, you know, and his wife would be like, wait, you need to stop, you need to relax. And he's like, no, I'm in a hurry, I need to still write so much, you know. And that's so inspiring. So I feel that, you know, it's a beautiful thing to know what kind of your destiny is in life. That you're like, okay, I'm really supposed to be a musician, and I get the support. And I have to just go for it. And that means to just keep on evolving and, you know, researching and exploring, and so it's a beautiful motivational thing in my life to think about him. Yeah,
I can imagine it gives you a lot of strength.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Yeah,
going further.
Yeah, I mean, if you know also about his life and what he went through, it's like every time I'm going through something, I'm like, okay, but this is nothing to compare to what Way Shorter went through, and he kept on going, and he's like, you know, he was so strong and so spiritual and so bright, and yeah, so
A true inspiration.
totally, yeah.
Hey, when we listened to your album, we of course noticed that there is a very there's a tension and a balance between rhythm and dynamics and melodies. How do you go about that when you are writing? How do you find the balance between all these factors?
Well, yeah, it's nice. It's a nice question, because the music for me consists of different parameters, musical elements, as you say, rhythm or harmony or melody or textures, colors. And so when I try to balance them, so when I have a rhythmical idea, I'm like, okay, but now I need something melodic to balance it, or to, you know. So I think music is really a lot about yin and yang, you know, like you cannot be all the time only rhythmical and intense. You need to balance it with some space as well, and some beautiful colors and stuff. So I just try to be aware of that when I write. Yeah.
I mentioned to you, Sam, right before this, before we started this interview, we were listening. I stopped at Hymn for Hestia, because I think that was a little favorite of today. And I mentioned to Sam that I had the feeling I was listening to a story of somebody telling something.
Yeah.
Is that something you can relate to, or is that something
that is the aim?
You drive?
Yeah, that's definitely you're trying to build up like a little story every time you improvise or play together with the band. So yeah, thank you. That's a compliment.
Tineke, and now we're here at Jazzahead 2024. How do you prepare for such an event as this one where we're at? And is it any different from your other gigs, maybe in your tour? How does it feel for you to play in such an event with your peers and people from the industry in the audience, in comparison to, you know, maybe people who bought a ticket to see you? How does it feel for you?
I think it didn't really feel very different from another gig. The only thing is that it's shorter. It has to be very compact. There's a clock hanging on the stage that kind of really, you know, indicates whether it's time to stop. So that's the only thing, actually, you know. And I just got here like right before the show, because I had a concert happening yesterday. So maybe that was also good. If I would have walked around for 3 days here, meeting all the people, maybe I would have become more self-aware of it. But no, it was just in and out. Maybe that was healthy, you know. And how do I prepare? Well, I feel that the best preparation I can have is just by touring and writing and practicing. So it's not specifically that I'm preparing for the Jazzahead, but it's just a continuous attitude of working on my music and playing.
Playing.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Cool. So, improvisation. That is a key part of jazz music as a whole. And can you enlighten us a little bit about your approach to improvisation and what you aim to express through this spontaneous aspect of the music that you play?
Yeah, I try to really work with the musicians. So I don't see myself as the main soloist in my quartet. It's just we're continuously with the four of us improvising together. And at any given moment, the bass player can start a new idea, or the drummer, or the guitar player, and we move along with it. And knowing that from each other keeps us very alert, because anything can happen, you know.
You need to really trust.
Yeah,
the
totally.
pe-
Yeah, and so I like that kind of explorative playing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, as Wayne Shorter said, jazz to him is like I dare you. To him it meant I dare you. And so it's also nice to challenge each other a little bit, you know, and to not, and what I think is very important in our quartet is to never repeat ourselves too much, you know. So when something works, we already fairly quick get into it, like, okay, that worked, but let's see what works as well, you know, and what can we do now. So it's very open, and no evening is the same. And I think we all have a little bit that restlessness of not wanting to just, you know, lean into one thing and just hold on to it, but just, yeah, just grow and develop and explore, taking risks. Maybe sometimes be not too comfortable, you know, and stuff like that. So I think those things are important to me.
Yeah, so collaboration, you know, that seems to be a significant part of that creative process.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
How do you, moving on the topic, how did working with artists like Ben Monder and the rest of the quartet shape the sound and the feel of Aria?
Well, yeah, I recorded the album with Ben Monder, and I wrote also half of the music with having him in mind. And yeah, he's incredible, of course. He's like a master of sound and textures, and so yeah, just wonderful to play with him. But yeah, he's part of Bad Plus now. He's touring so much, so we had to, unfortunately, to kind of like make the decision for myself to start working with a different other guitar player to make it a little easier for us for touring Europe. So I'm so happy that David de Ruska is now in the band. He's from Prague, and yeah, that works really well. So I'm so happy with this quartet. It's really it's a big blessing to have a group of musicians with you that are on the same page, have the same ideas, you know. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
We've seen that Aria has gotten some very flattering reviews. How do you go about these? Do you read them? Do you take it with you? Do you help? Does it help to develop what you do in music?
I just see it as a promotional thing. It's just good to get some attention in order to, you know, play, to get the opportunities to be invited at venues. So it just is important, and it's of course always nice to get some recognition. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does this reflect to here? Because of course this is Jazzahead. It's not only a showcase festival. There's also a lot of industry people around. Is there a way you prepare for this specific part of the trade fair? Or is there a certain goal you set for yourself before coming here?
Well, honestly, this year I haven't done that much. I also have an agent now, so we are working closely together. She's been here the whole time, and so I feel very fortunate, you know, to have her.
That helps.
In my life right now, because I'm so busy. But I used to really hang here like all days and bring CDs and print out biographies and make set meetings with people. So I've been here a lot and I've done the thing many times. Yeah.
So Tineke, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time here to answer our questions. It's been a true pleasure here during Jazzahead 2024. We have one last question. Looking into the future, are there any upcoming projects that you're excited about? Touring, music? Is there anything that you would like to share with us?
Any big surprises?
Well, I'm recording a new album in October. And I made a couple of videos with people who are really amazing and everybody knows them. So I'm very excited to share them and release them in the coming months. I'm gonna tour with Linda O, the bassist, her group, playing her amazing music. Doing a nice duo with Jonas Burkwinkel, a drummer, at the Bimhuis in May. Doing some touring with Florian Arbenz, the drummer, is from Switzerland. We released a very nice album with João Baradas on the bandeon, so of accordion, let's say. So a lot of different projects. Yeah.
Busy as always.
Yeah, totally.
Cool, fantastic. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Tineke, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being here and answering our questions. And we wish you a great Jazzahead 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having me. Bye.
Thank you.